House Bill 3315 will take effect this November. This bill removes criminal penalties for people under the age of 21 who are caught with tobacco products. Joining us now live to talk more about this and other efforts to slow youth access to tobacco is TSET's Director of Public Information, Thomas Larson. Thomas, good morning and thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. This is very important information that we all need to know and kind of keep track of. So as I mentioned there, House Bill 3315 kind of changes the rules a little bit if you're caught with tobacco under the age of 21. Just give us a quick, brief overview of this bill and what's changing with it.
Sure. So House Bill 3315, that reformed what are known as purchase, use, and possession, or PUP laws. And essentially it eliminates a $100 fine for youth who were caught in possession of tobacco. Instead of that fine, there's a course that they'll be required to go take about the dangers of tobacco and cessation. And the reason that's important is because study after study has shown that those fines on youth are not effective for deterring youth tobacco use. In fact, it can really be counterproductive. Kids who might be addicted to nicotine aren't going to reach out for help quitting if they think they're going to get in trouble, if they think they're going to get a fine. So what this bill does is it eliminates that fine, it creates an educational opportunity for those youth, and it opens up an opportunity for the state like TSET to work with retailers and educate them about proper selling of tobacco products. We have community grants across the state, and we have grantees who go in and work with those retailers to educate them about not selling to people who are under 21.
After or before this law, it's going to take effect in November, and we're talking about lighter penalties there. What are the penalties right now, or like before this law takes effect? What kind of penalties do people face?
Well, you know, the first penalty is a $100 fine, and it escalates from there. And of course, not every kid is able to pay that. And if you're not able to pay that, you might lose your driver's license or not be able to get a driver's license. And that can impact your ability to go to school or get to work if you need a job to help support yourself or your family. So it can cause more problems than it really solves. So we're hoping that by removing this fine and creating an educational course, that opens up more opportunities for youth who are addicted to seek the help that they need.
Right, education is key here. So
Absolutely.
Let's talk about some of the other efforts that are in place to curb the use of tobacco in our youth. TSET Board of Directors passing 3 resolutions, right?
That's right. You know, they passed one resolution about those purchase, use, and possession laws. Another resolution they passed just encouraged the state legislature to look at licensing vaping retailers. A lot of people don't realize this, but you know, if you sell tobacco products, you have to have a tobacco retailer license in Oklahoma. There is no comparable license for vaping retailers. So anyone with a store can just sell vaping products, and that causes problems with enforcement. You know, law enforcement knows some of the stores that are selling vaping products, but without licensure, there's no comprehensive list, and so there's less accountability for those vaping retailers. So, you know, one thing that the Board of Directors would like to see is a vaping retail license, as well as a tax on vaping products. Vaping products are not taxed the same way tobacco products are taxed, and putting a tax on those that's comparable to tobacco products would increase the price and make those products less accessible to youth.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Vaping, e-cigarettes, how much have these products hindered the efforts to curb the use of tobacco among youth?
You know, starting around 2000, we saw a dramatic decline in youth smoking, but that's really been undercut the last 5 years or so by the rise in vaping. By some surveys, as many as 1 in 4 Oklahoma kids high school students have used a vaping product in the last 30 days. So it's really nearing epidemic proportions. You know, we have flavors like fruit and candy flavors and marketing that really appeals to youth. So what you're seeing is the tobacco company reaching out and trying to hook that next generation of users on their products. By doing licensure, by doing a tobacco tax on vaping products, you're going to make those products less affordable and less accessible to youth.
You mentioned there a little bit on the amount of students using tobacco products. According to the CDC in 2019, 30.8% of Oklahoma high school students reported currently using tobacco products. Is that a number that still holds true today in 2022? Have we seen it go up? Have we seen it go down?
You know, there's some very early preliminary data that maybe that has gone down a little bit, which is an encouraging trend. You know, some of that is education and parents, educators being informed about vaping. And you know, I think the pandemic pandemic also kind of impacted youth ability to acquire vaping devices. So it's really early and the data isn't finalized yet, but there's some indication that that might be moving in the right direction now.
That's good news. And I want to ask you, recently we reported e-cigarette maker Juul was going to have to pay a settlement to many states, including Oklahoma, after claims that they were marketing and targeting younger users. Do you know how that money is going to be used here in the state? Do you know if it's going to be put back into these efforts of fighting tobacco use?
I don't think that's been determined yet. That is still a preliminary settlement, and Oklahoma's share of that, it would be up to the Attorney General's office and the legislature and the governor to determine where those monies go. So that hasn't been determined yet. But even more important than the money with the Juul case are the restrictions that Juul has to agree to that restricts their ability to market to youth.
Okay. Just thought I would ask.
Yeah.
I know it's still kind of early on that.
Yeah, it's early. We don't know where that money is going yet.
Yeah, just thought I would ask. Before we go, if anyone's watching right now, parents are watching, maybe they want some more information, where can they get information about educational resources, how they can get help, or just any tobacco user in general, where they can get some resources?
Sure. TSET funds a lot of programs to educate Oklahomans. There's Tobacco Stops With Me, and you can find a wealth of resources there at stopswithme.com. And if you know a young person who is already addicted to nicotine, we offer a text-based cessation service called My Life, My Quit, and that's mylifemyquit.com.
Okay. Thomas, thank you so much for coming in and updating us on these efforts to slow the use of tobacco among youth. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.